Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos we have the privilege of reading Parshas Mishpatim, the Parsha of the judgments of the laws of the Jewish people. At the very beginning of the Sedra, the Parsha says, these are the Mishpatim, Eila HaMishpatim Asher Tosim Lifneihem, that you shall place before them. And Rashi comments and he says, when it says you shall place them before them, that it's got to be Keshulchan Aruch, like a set table that's prepared for people to eat from. The metaphor is, if you want to eat, you don't put the food down and then go bring the silverware and the plates and the tablecloth and the napkins and so on. Everything is put down first. First you set the table, the Shulchan Aruch, a set table, and then you eat. That's why the body of Jewish law is called the Shulchan Aruch. It sets the table, and just as you can't eat until the table is set, so a Jew can't live until he consults with the Shulchan Aruch, the set table that tells us how we should conduct ourselves at all times. Now, it happens to be that when it comes to the Torah, that Shulchan Aruch, that set table, is so often not what's written in the written law, in the Torah Shebiksav, but it's all brought out in the Torah Shebal Peh, which was given together with the Torah Shebiksav. Here's an example. It says in the Shema that we say every day, 2 times a day, third time before going to sleep, we say, Uchesavtom al mezuzos beisecha uvisharecha. You should write these words on the doorposts of your house and on the gates of your cities. Have you ever seen anybody go over, take a pen, and walk over to the doorpost and use a pen and start writing on the doorpost, and these words shall be Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? Nobody would do that and write on the doorpost. Everyone knows, and it goes back even time immemorial. The houses that are dug up from centuries, thousands of years past, had on the right side going into the house a mezuzah. They had a place for the mezuzah. They put a parchment there, which everyone knows is the way we write the mezuzahs. So the written law is what sets the table, and the oral law fleshes it out in order to be able to live as a Jew. And there's an example of that, very interesting, how we have to study the Torah Shebiksav and the Torah Shebal Peh in order to be able to understand what the Mishpatim are. Here's a perfect example. It says in this week's Sedra, Im chavol tachbol salmas re'echa. If you will take as a guarantee for a loan the garment of your friend, ad bo hashemesh tishivenu lo. By the time the sun comes, you shall return it to him. And as Rashi explains both here and in Devarim, if you take as a guarantee the night garment of a person, then you can keep that garment during the day. But when the sun sets and he's going to go to sleep at night, you have to give him back the night garment. And if you take as a guarantee a day garment, you can hold that garment from the sunset till sunrise. But once sunrise comes, you have to give back the garment to the individual, because kihi ksuso levado. Kihi, because it, the garment, ksuso levado. That's his only garment. And he needs that garment either to sleep in or to work in. Now, if you please pay close attention to the word kihi kisuso. Kisuso means his garment. But take a look at the way it's spelled. It's spelled without a vav at the end, and instead there's a hey. So that if you have no nekudos, no dots in the Sefer Torah, that could be read kihi kisu so levada. That is her only garment. Now, which one is it? Is it a man's garment or is it a female garment? The truth of the matter is, it's both. There's a Gemara in the Nedarim on Daf Mem Tes. Fascinating piece of Gemara. The Gemara there tells about Rebbe Yehuda, the great Tana Rebbe Yehuda, that his wife went out to the market and purchased a garment, and she wore that garment when she had to go shopping in the market. She came home from shopping. Rebbe Yehuda would take the garment, the cloak, because it was cold, and he would put it on and go out to shul to daven and to learn. So here was an example where it was both kisuso, his garment, and spelled kisusa, her garment. And the Torah presaged this fascinating little Gemara, which teaches us how the oral law makes sense out of the written law, and without it we wouldn't know the Mishpatim that are Keshulchan Aruch. And so, because it was a nondescript, neither male or female garment, and Rebbe Yehuda Hanassi would wear it when he was going to shul, and his wife would wear it when she would go shopping, it explained why that word was spelled that way. We wouldn't know that if we didn't learn the oral law. We wouldn't have the flavor and understanding. By the way, imagine the great Rebbe Yehuda, the great Tana, not Rebbe Yehuda Hanassi, the great Tana Rebbe Yehuda. He was so poverty-stricken that only one coat was there for both him and his Heishes Chayil, and they shared it. And they taught us a fascinating lesson. No matter how difficult and dire the circumstances of life happen to be, there's a way to fulfill the Torah. Because it's a Shulchan Aruch. It's a set table. And the table is set for all of us to enjoy life, just as the table is set for us to be able to eat. And as long as we follow along with the laws of the Shulchan Aruch, we are the people who are guaranteed to be the repositories, the ones who hold onto, and the ones who will see the future, just as the Eila HaMishpatim Asher Tosim Lifneihem, you'll place it before them, Keshulchan Aruch. To this day, thousands of years later, we refer to the Shulchan Aruch that's mentioned in Parshas Mishpatim. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos, and a Shabbos Mevorchim HaChodesh Adar Aleph, and enjoy the beautiful Shabbos and Shabbos Mevorchim. Shabbat Shalom Umevorach.